Hi everybody, this is Ismail with another video, and I'm sorry it's been a while since I've shot a video, only because it's been such a hectic year and a very busy summer for me. And but I wanted to tell you I'm still here. I haven't disappeared, and I'm still making videos when I can. And I'm hoping I can make them more regularly. I'm hoping to change the format in the future, but unfortunately it's been really difficult because of other responsibilities and things I've got to do. But today I wanted to shoot this video to talk about something that has been weighing on my heart for a while. And I think it's so important if you're an art teacher, an artist, or in any of the other fields of the arts, dance, theater, writing, let's see, dance, theater, writing, of course, visual arts, and so on, right? So it's really important that you as an artist, right, regardless of the field that you're in, take your work seriously. And what I mean by that is that, unfortunately, I know this being in the visual arts, that people don't take what you do seriously. They tend to marginalize it. And this comes in many different forms. It can come from a friend, it could come from a family member, or even a stranger. It could come from your workplace. It could come from just a myriad number of places, right, in terms of people that you may meet. Even in church, you can get marginalized in what you do or what you love to do and so on, or in any other type of setting. So what I really wanted to say was, if you're an artist, regardless of what you do, what you're into, take yourself seriously. And I mean that seriously. Take what you do seriously. If you're an art teacher, like I am, and an artist, like I am, take your work seriously. Because if you don't take your work as serious as you think you should, no one else will. And that's the real point here. I remember long ago a friend of mine who was a professor, a PhD, and actually, believe it or not, he has a huge background in dance, also a visual artist, but started out as a dancer and studied in some of the best dance schools in the world. Actually even studied in Russia, studied ballet, and really just amazing and brilliant in his own right, And he was asked some time ago to teach dance at a location, for a couple of hours a week or something like that. The people that he was talking to, knowing very well that this man is a seasoned dancer, he wasn't no, guy from the street or anywhere. This is a person that had a resume, an extensive resume in dance. Someone who had danced in professionally, someone who has trained with some of the best people in the world. But they treated his overall background as if, well, you're just going to teach dance to some kids or whatever and do this and that. And they weren't going to pay him much for it. It was, according to him, it was like they really didn't take what he did and all the years that he invested in what he did as if it was of any importance, Yet they wanted a professional dancer, but they didn't want to treat him professionally. So he basically told them in their faces, he said, I worked really hard to be where I'm at. And you're treating this like it's some joke, like it's some little thing I do to pass the time. So he refused their offer, and I think he was very right in doing so. And he kept it going, you know. He did some other projects that were much better and more fulfilling. I say this because this happens a lot, unfortunately. If you're someone who is thinking of even higher education, right? You get your bachelor's, you get your master's. Some people want to get their PhD in the arts, and that's all cool. That's good. I think it depends on your situation, if you really need a PhD or not. I have 2 masters, but I don't have a PhD, but I have years of experience and background. I don't really need a PhD. But, you know, if the opportunity were to arise and I can get one, maybe I would. But that's not the issue. The issue is, even with a PhD, you'll find people who just don't respect people with years invested in their subject. It happens in the arts a lot. And you have to have a backbone and really basically put people in their place when it comes to that type of thing. It is a difficult thing, and I'm just using that education thing as an example. Even if you're somebody who's basically trained as an artist, you know, you don't have to go to art school to be an artist. Let me get that right out, so there's no confusion there. You don't need to go to school to be an artist. But you go get training, you know, you invest time in learning techniques, you invest time in painting, or obviously, or drawing, or whatever type of art that you do, dance, or even theater, of course, and film, and, you know, all that encompasses the arts in general. You know, you give your life to something you love, and the last thing you need is somebody to come along and basically say, well, what you do is not really important. Really? That's a terrible thing to say to anybody. Right? It doesn't matter if you're going to be a doctor or if you want to be a dancer. What you do matters. You know, people like to always put them next to each other and say, well, being a doctor is far more important and prestige. Being a lawyer, yeah. What happens when they need some time off and they need to relax, or when they need to deal with issues of life? Who do they go to? They go to the theater, don't they? They go to museums, don't they? They go to poets, you know, especially when you're dealing with issues of the heart. Poetry becomes really important. You need writers for that. You need poets for that. Stories, right? There's more to life than just the academia, right? Of doing things that, quote unquote, some people think are more important than others. So if you're an artist of any kind, of any sort, take yourself seriously if you love what you do. And if it's something that you want to do for the rest of your life, don't let people marginalize it based on their assumptions of what they think you do. And if you have to cut ties with people, do it. I've done it. I've had to. You know, because after a while, it doesn't help to be around people that just basically, they want to put you in their kind of framework, you know, in their box, so to speak, and they want you to fit their mold. Why? Why would you want to do that? Be who you are. You're an artist, you're a painter, that's who you are. You're a photographer, that's who you are. You're a dancer, you're an actor, a filmmaker. Hello. You know, there's nothing dishonorable in being any of those things. And we as artists need to stop allowing people to enter our space and basically tell us that what we do or what we care about isn't important. when it comes to what we love to do. If you want to, treat what you do as a hobby, that's on you. I don't treat my artwork as a hobby. I love it too much to treat it as a hobby. It's what I am, it's what I do. It is part of my identity as a person. I'm an artist, period. I'm an artist first before I'm an art teacher. Now, if your perspective is kind of similar to mine, don't let people, and this includes family, I hate to say it, this includes family. Sometimes family even are worse than your friends or relationships outside. And I know people who have had to kind of look the other way when it comes to family and pursue their artistic endeavors. And the ironic part, it's always funny because you see families that, they're so bent on the person to become, or their child to be a lawyer or a doctor or some business person or whatever. And that's their goal for their child. But inside, their child wants to dance, or they want to be an illustrator, or they want to be a painter, or they want to do something in the creative realm, right? Maybe they want to be a storyteller and illustrate books. I have a friend that does that. Sometimes you have to make hard decisions and say, you know what, Mom and Dad, this ain't for me. I want to paint. I want to draw. So I'm going to go to art school instead. Now, that's not easy. And there's a lot of layers, and depending on your dynamics. But you got to be true to who you are, I feel, in terms of the arts, right? If that's something you really want to pursue. Don't let people marginalize what you do. Take painting, take what you do and cherish it and continue doing it. Don't let people discourage you. Don't let people put you down. And if they do, turn the other cheek, walk away, or say goodbye, my friend. Family, of course, you can't always do that. But you can ignore them when they say things that you don't feel are right when it comes to what you do. And I always find it very interesting, all my friends who became successful in their artistic profession, acting, photography, film, filmmaking, or I know a couple of people, well, of course, the visual arts. And am I missing anything? I probably am, but all of those aspects there. When they become successful, all of a sudden their families are they did it, they made it anyway, despite the fact that I wanted to make them into something they didn't want to be. Hello. Their so-called, idea of what a real job wasn't as big as theirs, what they became, right? So I hope I'm making sense in that. But what I'm trying to say overall is, if you love something that you do, and it could be a craft, it could be the arts, it could whatever it is, do it. And if you have to ignore people to get to where you want to go, then do so. If you have to say goodbye to certain people, maybe you can't be friends with certain people that just can't wrap their minds over the fact that you love to paint or draw or, anything like that. Even in my profession, I'm an art teacher. It's always funny how people think that what I do is so easy. They'll say, oh, you're a visual arts teacher. Oh, you got it good. Really? Have you ever taught 300 kids a week? I have friends that teach up to 600 to 700 children a week. Art teachers. We work hard. We work real hard. Today I was working on a lesson plan A lot of details go into that. I mean, this is no joke, man. What we do in the arts, it's very vital. It's very important. And again, I didn't want to make this video too long, but all I wanted to say was, if you're an artist, continue doing what makes you tick, what makes you feel alive, and do it until you can't do it anymore, you know. And if people want to come along with you on that beautiful journey, awesome. If there's some people that just can't relate to you or can't whatever, you got to say goodbye to that, or to them, even if it's, you know. I've met people that had to break up relationships. They had to leave their boyfriend or girlfriend because they wouldn't take them seriously about what they did. Now imagine being in a relationship with somebody that you care about looks down at what you do. Imagine that. I'm sorry, but that's unacceptable. You know, you need to make a decision on that. That's just my take. I'm not telling you what to do. But I just can't imagine myself doing that. You know, thank goodness I don't have to deal with that. But continue moving forward. That's my word for today. And listen, one final story. When I was I think I was about 9 or 10 years old, maybe 11. I remember I was at a relative's home, and one of my aunts, and I had cousins there and things like that, right? And I was talking about all the things that I was fascinated with. You know, I was interested in being a police officer or a fireman or being an astronaut, right? Things like that. The kids, you know, when you're 10 or 11 years old, it's okay to dream, right? Like that. Wonder, what is it like really, you know? So I was thinking out loud. And I had an older cousin. I think he was about, at the time, maybe 13, 14, maybe 15 years old. And he just had to come to me and basically said, you're crazy, you're not, you don't know what you're talking about, you can't be any of those things. So you want to be too many, the word was, you want to be too many things. And I was like, why couldn't I be a cop who becomes an astronaut? You know, I was like very honest about it. I was like, why is any of those things impossible to do? And, you know, he wanted to make a point that none of that was possible for me. And I still remember that vividly. It's so funny. I've forgiven him, of course. That was long ago. But it made me realize back then, it's so funny, I still remember this, that it didn't matter what he said. It didn't matter at all. Whatever hang-ups he had at the time were his own. He was just trying to put it on me and try to put his limitation, his limited thinking on me. Don't let people's limited thinking become part of your thinking. Don't put that type of framework in your life. You don't need it. If you're an artist, hey man, expand, grow, learn. That's the joy of, as far as I'm concerned, with being an artist. It's expression, ideas, concepts. You know, spirituality even is woven within that. There's so much going on. And you can't keep that all in one little tight little box like some people try to do with their life. Life is far more organic and far more alive than we give it credit for. So with that, that is my video for today. So The title, if I were to give a title to this video, I would just simply say, don't allow others to marginalize what you do. Don't let people with their limited thinking have an impact on you. Take hold of what it is that you love, whatever type of art, what type of expression you use to share with the world, and go with it. And if you have to say goodbye to some people, say goodbye. If you have to move on from others, then move on. If you have to ignore certain things that are said or people, then do so. But what you do as an artist matters. I want you to get that. If you're an art teacher who feels down because people don't respect what you do, or children might say things, I usually ignore what kids say because kids are kids. You know, they only repeat sometimes the negativity from their parents. Ignore that. Teach them in a way that ignites a light, a blaze of curiosity and creativity. That's your job as an art teacher. Don't worry about the negativity. What you do matters. It's important to this world. Okay? You take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.